Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more professional StarCraft Brood War games. This one is going to be between my favorite player in the bottom right against my least favorite race in the top left. Noob, you probably know who he is. He's a pro Protoss player. Not a whole lot to say about him. He hasn't done a lot, but definitely a very good player. And in the bottom right here, this is Sharp. Okay, Sharp is one of the most active Terrans in the modern era. He's been a pro since the Kespa era, but really kind of started peaking around the time of Remastered coming out. You know, for me personally, he is my favorite active player to watch games from. I actually find him pretty inspirational. He actually plays a style that is kind of similar to what I kind of gravitate to, I guess is the right way to play it. He doesn't play, like, for instance, in Terran vs. Zerg, he just likes SK Terran. In Terran vs. Terran, he doesn't do as many Vulture Wars or Wraith Openers as a lot of players. And in Terran vs. Protoss, he's very much into Vultures, rotating Vultures around, trying to harass, that type of thing. So, you know, I think he's one of the most exciting players to watch. He's been one of the top Terran players in the world for quite some time now. So looking forward to seeing him against another pro gamer here in a Terran versus Protoss match. Now, we're on Invader, and Invader is a two-player map, a very modern one. It's actually a pretty good map, it seems, so far. You can see the gas steal coming in from Noob, just to be expected. Kind of interesting to see that Sharp lets it go down. Very oftentimes, what we've seen from Sharp in his professional games, when someone tries to offensive gas him, if it's a two-player map, he'll actually sit in SCV on the ramp to wait, and then make sure that he takes his own gas. And he's really the only pro Terran that ever does that. That's always something that I've never liked about his play and always thought was weaker than other Terran players, because generally speaking, that leaves you open more to pain and suffering. In fact, we've seen him lose because of that move before. But yeah, it seems as if maybe he's broadening his responses here by just allowing it to go down. Up here, Noob has made for a forward gateway. He's going to have a Zealot popping out at this point and going to go across the map. So now we get to see how Sharp wants to react. He's going up here. No, okay, he does throw down the engineering bay. That makes the most sense. This is a really good counter to builds like this, because a lot of times Protoss will make two Zealots and go for a Nexus. And just pressure you with the two Zealots so that you have to make a lot of Marines so that you can't just go down and make your own command center. So it's actually a very annoying thing to play against. So a very nice engineering bay block there on the natural expansion. Probably the second Zealot that comes out will attack that as well to help take it down. That really does stifle Protoss. Now, 3 Marines are already out and knock off that gas. With this SCV alive, he saw that the gas wasn't taken. So instead of taking his own gas, which he just cleared, it looks like he wants to go ahead and make a command center. So he waits till the engineering bay is very low, cancels it, gets 75% of the money back, command center, bunker immediately. And now the one thing he really needs to watch out for is a 3 Zealot run by. This is so common, it's hard to overstate. Like, when you make a bunker, it doesn't even matter if you have 4 Marines, 3 Zealots will just run by. So you need to keep at least an SCV out to block. You don't have time to float your barracks there to wall it in. It always comes before the barracks can get there. So here we go. That is going to be exactly what we see here. He does not block well with the SCV. He's a little bit late to it. So you can see these Zealots barely take any hull damage. None, little tiny bit. So that's a lot of health left over, and you have to leave something in the bunker. So Sharp brings in 2 Marines to try to help deal with this. He does not have a factory up yet. He is making more Marines. He left his Sim City together, probably knew that this was likely to happen, because, again, this is super, super common after a gas steal. Whenever you get into this situation, those 3 Zealots run by. So runs back a little bit there. You know, he's trying to put some damage, because don't forget, the Zealots are healing. It looks like another one ran by as well. He knows that the bunker doesn't have as many in them anymore, so now he has 4 Zealots in here, which is a real issue. Factory gets started, but immediately one of the SCV making it dies. He's got to be careful, because, like, 4 Marines will kill a Zealot, but absolutely not 4. Not even 2. So you have to make sure you're keeping them alive by hiding them in places the Zealots can't easily get to. So starts making that again, continually making these Marines. Oh, man. So much damage going down. Already has delayed that factory immensely. 5 Zealots in here now. Starting to pick off a lot of SCVs. The worker count is very even at this point. You know, the Nexus is up for Noob across the map. He's got the 2 gateways. Obviously, both sides making a lot of workers, but the only side losing workers right now is Sharp. So you can see him now falling below a little bit in this regard. Now, finally, he has gotten control of the situation. All right, gonna save that last SCV and kill off the rest of the Zealots. But overall, you look at this, this is like the latest factory that you can ever imagine, right? Like, there isn't ever really a time except exactly a situation like this where you will see a factory so late. And in fact, this is much later than you would normally even see after a rush like that, right? That's just incredibly, incredibly late for the factory. So kind of a bad opening here for Sharp. But at the end of the day, one of the big ways that you can kind of look at a game and figure out what's going on and where the game is at would be looking at the worker counts. And the fact that Sharp is within 3 workers right now is still pretty reasonable. You're not going to be unhappy with that. And don't forget, he lost a lot of SCV, so he might actually feel like he's further behind than he is. Now, Sharp is going for Academy and Armory. So that's going to give him a lot of flexibility. Again, this is one of the things that I really love about Sharp's play, is he gives himself a lot of flexibility with builds like this. Look at this, immediately going into 3 factories. He wants to be able to get out onto that map. But when you add those comm sets, you are going to fall further behind in those workers. So we'll see as that begins to occur to him. 3 range Dragoons pounding on this bunker now. Going to go ahead and send his SCVs up to just repair that real quick. Ooh, that would be a nice target right there on that SCV. Nice little SCV kill if he clicks and sees. Accidentally rallies that Dragoon in a little bit too much. Oh, does end up getting that SCV. Very annoying. 5 goons right now going to town on this bunker. Sharp is going to bring up the tank. You have to be careful here. 4 goons will 2-shot a tank. So see how he's like going up to attack and then immediately pulling back. This is to try to make sure that he doesn't get caught if there's a sudden retargeting by Noob upon this tank. So getting a couple hits here and there. He's trying to, you know, if you can get the goons low enough, they get more badly hurt if they run into the bunker fire. No siege mode is on the way. Oh, no, he just finished siege mode. That's what I was going to check, because I'm like, damn, man, without siege mode, this is tough. But he gets his siege mode. He sieges up. Hasn't built the comm sets yet. He does not need them yet because he sees how many Dragoons there are. He knows there cannot also be Dark Templars on the map right this second. Probably he's going to want to get those pretty quickly, as well as an engineering bay. But goes up to a 4th factory, has his +1 going. You know, I think Sharp has done a pretty good job. It was a tough opener for him, but now suddenly he's got good production, getting speed. I'm sure he'll get mines next, clearing out some of these eggs, which is always a good thing. Those are really screw up the AI of everything. Meanwhile, we have Noob over here on 4 gates, just making Dragoons, getting his 3rd Nexus up and running. So a lot of vultures being made. When you see that switch over to vultures, very oftentimes that means an attack is coming. So it looks like it's going to be a 5 siege tank plus mass vulture rallying attack. Multiple depots going down right now by Sharp. Just kind of removing the rest of these eggs. If you don't do it now, it's not really going to get done. Sometimes you actually want to wait for another round of vultures too, just in case the Dragoons are close by, and try to take some sort of engagement before you're ready. But yeah, it looks like he will be able to push these back pretty well. Definitely his army is very strong right now, especially with 4 vultures coming out at a time. You know, the vultures are going to be like buffering a lot and laying mines down, which will force either retargeting or pulling back from Protoss. Now, the speed vultures coming up the other side. Let's zoom out a little bit to show this. See this? Setting up siege, coming in from an interesting angle here. Now, 1 tank will be picked off immediately. More Dragoons coming down. The tanks are getting a lot of shots here. He starts to lay some mines. You can't just walk through the mines. Not with Dragoons, at least. And you can see Sharp getting a lot of very good volleys there. So the Dragoon count has been reduced pretty significantly. Don't forget right now, it's 4 factories against 4 gateways. Obviously, that's going to change for Noob. He's starting to add a lot more gates. But during this moment, 4 vultures being made at a time is very, very strong against only 4 Dragoons being made at a time. They get across the map quickly, they lay the mines, and it's going to make it a lot harder for Noob to get through here. Look at this. Runs into a couple mines already. He's just trying to kill the tanks. If he can remove all the tanks, a lot of times that'll result in Protoss being well ahead. So it looks like he'll get those and maybe this. No, another tank comes up and helps out. So 2 tanks remain. More tanks are rallying from Sharp now as well, so he's not producing just vultures anymore. This is going to be a very hard to kill position. You know, Noob spent all of his units, so definitely needs to make quite a few more. Honestly, I think even here, a scout could have been worthwhile. I know that sounds crazy, but honestly, like, it could have been. If he, like, he's had that Stargate a while, he's trying to get into Arbiter, but a scout here could have been great. Like, you can just put a scout here and he has to pull back. This is buildable terrain. Nothing in here is buildable terrain. So you could, like, actually force everything to kind of stay to the side, you know, maybe pick off the mines down here. Hell, if you get in there before the turret, you can just kill the SCV and force the tanks back. But here, Sharp has killed off all the probes at the 3rd base. So now the worker count very, very close to even. Sharp continuing his upgrades, getting that additional command center, getting ready to expand down onto the bottom part of the map. Additional missile turret going up. Looks like he's going to stay entrenched in this area. Noob getting another gate, going into Arbiter, getting stasis, +1, zealot legs, all those important things, but he's only on 2 base. So right now, Sharp should be feeling pretty good about this game. I don't think that there's any realistic way for him to really save this Nexus. I think he'd lose too much of his army. Trying to save it, this setup is just very, very good. But we'll see. Maybe he is going to charge in at the last second. He's got a little bit of time because it's only 1 tank attacking here. Okay, Noob is going to try this. Walks into some mines at the bottom. The Zealots tanking a lot of the mines here at the front. This is a lot of Dragoons, but all the Vultures come up to help. The 2 tanks on low ground over here. They are going to miss some shots, but their splash will still deal damage to those Dragoons on the high ground. And it does look as if Noob is going to be able to hold this Nexus. Yeah, everything going to end up going down. He lost a lot there for sure, but he saves the Nexus, which is a pretty big move, especially considering Sharp is floating over his 3rd command center now. But the supply is very close to even. The worker count is very close to even. And honestly, the tech that Noob is going for doesn't give a lot of flexibility. Arbiter is very macro-oriented. Like, you can get a nice stasis off or get a recall off when your opponent's out of position, something like that, and it can be a very strong move without a doubt, right? But you really need a lot of units with Arbiter. It's really just kind of a macro-oriented build. You got to be able to run around, refill your army a lot so you can do wasteful recalls upon your opponent. Here, this looks pretty darn good for Sharp. Look at this. He's getting a 3rd add-on. I love seeing that 3rd add-on after losing so many tanks and getting a 3rd gas this game. He has his upgrades going very nicely. I think he has 1-1. No, he just has 1-0. So getting 2-1 right now. Getting his Goliath range, setting up some mines all over the map, just kind of for some vision. You can see mines set up absolutely everywhere. He's completely sure of the expansion count. So good info right now for Sharp. Definitely should be feeling pretty good. Obviously, the supply going up quicker here for Protoss. You know, they macro really quickly and get that supply very, very high. But there's not a lot of speciality in the army, right? Like, he's got the 1 spellcaster in the Arbiter. And other than that, it's just gateway units. And, well, the gateway units will have +1 pretty soon here, so that's something at least. But yeah, it's not like he has Psy Storms or Speed Shuttles or anything like that. He has his units cloaked, and he's going to get a spell. And obviously, over time, that's going to scale up a little bit better for the Arbiters as you get more and maybe 2 spells per Arbiter, that type of thing. Sharp rotating some Vultures around the map, trying to keep them very, very busy. And here we go. He is going for it right now. Ooh, this could be a really good stasis right there. Okay, only gets 2. Kind of misaimed that slightly, but runs in now, trying to break through Sharp. Does he have enough? I don't think he actually does. I think Sharp is just going to hold this. So Noob shoving his way in. He's lost the Arbiter now. Still going after the siege tanks, but yeah, especially with that bunker kind of body blocking everything. GG will be called, and Sharp will take down Noob.